All right, welcome back to another episode of Hashtag Randomly with Ronnie Jr. Who is with Ronnie Jr. today? Courtney Stewart, hello. She is a writer, a producer, and a damn good podcaster who I've known for, we haven't really got to hang too much, but at least it's been over 10 years. That's the thing about it.
It's definitely
Yeah.
been, what, 10 or 11 years at this point?
Yeah. So just as good as of a writer that you are and a producer, which is kind of what you focus on more, podcasting does feel fun to you because you just have a natural instinct with it.
Yeah, it's been doing it since it wasn't even a thing to do. So it's just, I don't know, I can run my mouth a lot and love talking about the pop culture. So it just comes and it flows naturally. So every time I get to do it, I love it. Thank you for having me.
Well, hopefully it'll flow because we're going to talk about a topic that does seem to be on a lot of pop culture fans' mind right now. Now, everyone feels like they know everything. They want to know, well, this is what should happen, and this person should be fired, et cetera, et cetera. But not everyone does know. I feel like I know, and I feel like Courtney knows. At least that's what we're going to do in today's episode. So the question at hand, and you could add on to this however you'd like. The question at hand is, it looks like Real Housewives of Atlanta's ratings aren't that great. I don't mind the shows. I'm still somewhat interested.
Oh, you are?
Somewhat. We'll delve in a minute. But the thing is, like, with this cast for this season, what are the hit and misses? And I guess we could start right there, Courtney. This show, this season, isn't giving you anything. Are you kind of in that same mindset?
I'm very much in the like, it's awful. And Atlanta has had my heart from the beginning. It has always been the best in my opinion. And it's not giving anything I want to see. I don't even remember that it's on. Like I was like a regular fan, even when they were having seasons that weren't great. Like it was must see TV for me. And I literally just watched the episode like this morning and was texting our mutual friend Jesse about it. Like, I'm just not into it at all. And I don't believe there's no relationships for real with a lot of these women. And I'm not enjoying it, period.
And can we use any excuse? Because I said I'm enjoying it a smidge. Not obviously it's the greatest season because it's not. But I don't know. I go with it. Could it be the element that nowadays people don't watch live TV? Do you think that has anything to do with it? Because what I had thought was, by teaming up Martha's Vineyard, the Summer House spinoff, I was like, okay, it's a nice block of Sunday night TV. Yes. But even so, both shows need a little work. I don't have a problem with Summer House, Martha's Vineyard. I do want it to get a second season.
Me
but
too.
With the combination, it just wasn't working. And I was asking myself, what is the problem? I really don't even think they're giving Sundays Watch What Happens Live the proper excitement. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that is the answer. But as we know, Andy's doing a lot more pre-records because of his schedule. And I think if you have Atlanta, which needs the help this season, clearly, and Martha's Vineyard, which people want a second season, but it may not, you at least got to give some powerful Sunday shows. And I don't know that they're doing that on Watch What Happens Live. They're not making it a scene that we're used to, I think.
Not at all. Because Sunday was like the kickoff for the week for Bravo. Mm-hmm. And like, obviously Atlanta's always been on Sundays. So we always had like Atlanta and then the Watch What Happens Live and the girls coming on. Like it's just not must see TV anymore because it's kind of boring and it's falling flat. And I agree with you. I want to see another Martha's Vineyard season. I think they deserve another one to like kind of get into a groove. But the Housewives,
yeah.
This is.
I mean, I almost feel like put Martha's Vineyard before Atlanta.
Agreed.
I don't know if it's that deep, but and we'll talk about Martha's Vineyard in a second. But so when you look at this cast, let's just kind of go one by one. Or who is the weakest link? I hate to say it like that, but do you feel like somebody's not bringing it? How would you describe the problem? Because we got to admit, me and Courtney, we had done a show before, and she really likes Atlanta, and I like it a lot. But I'm like much more of a, this is the Kenya Moore show starring the gals from Atlanta. That's how I roll. But since you love the show since day one, what's going on? How do you fix it?
I mean, okay, how do you fix it? That's a very complicated question. First of all, I will admit up front, I am not fully objective. I am an Atlanta native. These are my peoples, and I have a special place in my heart for the Atlanta women. A lot of these women ain't from Atlanta no more, and that's part of the problem, in my opinion. I think that Kenya always gives good TV, and I even gave her like the MVP award for this last episode because when she was choking or pretending to choke and need the Heimlich, I was dying. But I think that's also what's missing. It's not like the fun, jokey, quick, smart humor that it once was, and shade. Like it's just yelling about stupid stuff that nobody cares about. Like Marlo is not showing up, in my opinion, the way that we had hoped for the last like 10 years for her to show up. I think she's showing up just as a nasty human being and like just coming after Kandi, and she should be showing up as Marlo and all of her divineness, if there is any, which apparently maybe there isn't, and that's why all she can do is come for Kandi. Sanya, just girl, I want her to be great.
Me too.
I really do, but it's not happening. It's just not happening. That's all I have for Sanya.
Is it not happening? Even though it's nice to see her aspirations, the little family dynamic, even that's not doing it for you?
No.
I
just don't care. And I don't know why, but I don't care. And then I also feel like she doesn't have an authentic relationship with anyone on the cast. Like she's not actually friends with anybody. And what's funny is that it seemed as if outside of the show, she and Kandi were developing a pretty good relationship because I believe they were going on some family vacations together, their kids get together, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then on the show, she's not even really supportive really of Kandi in a way that I would expect if that's your actual friend. So I don't know. She's not giving.
It also, does it feel like she's taking herself too seriously too? And maybe. I only say that because I do it a lot, and I'll look back at my work and I'm like, yo, relax, Ronnie. Like, you got to relax. And when I see Sanya, like, I feel like she really wants to do well on this show. And it's like, it's not about doing well. It's just about having fun. And hopefully bits and pieces of that will transcend. To your Marlo comment, Marlo, yes, we're getting the one note of going, to 100 so fast. And I feel like she should be like laughing at Kenya. I love Kenya, so this is not what I'm saying, but she should be like, oh, Kenya, did I hurt your feelings? Like stuff like that, that she always did.
Yeah.
And we're not, and now it's not happening.
And now she's so upset and angry about everything that is Money doing and like turning it into some big ordeal. And it's like, girl, it is not that serious.
And it also shows you looking bad, even if it's the truth, because it's happening on a lot of shows now. If you basically, as a cast member, sort of have a bad season and get mollywopped throughout the season, you end up turning it around and saying, well, Kandi has the better edit, or no one ever gets to speak about Kandi stuff, and she's protected by the network. And I know a lot of other housewives do that too, or a lot of other reality shows, and it may be true to a degree. But once you start using that, oh, it's like the beginning of the end for your fan base to enjoy you. So even though Marlo might have some truth, the thing is, Marlo, if you were on this show since the time Kandi was on this show and have been making money for the network, don't you think you would get a little extra grace with your edit? So to say that makes you look really, 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 like a sour grapes, like a sore loser.
A sore loser. And that you have nothing else going on for you. Like, because if your whole everything is about what's being favoritism towards Kandi, then what's going on with you, girl? Like, other than being a Monty, like, what's happening? Like, how do you actually feel? Are you actually dating? Like, what's going on with what was her L'Atelier called?
The one that she spelled wrong, La Archive or something like that.
La Archive, that's what it is.
Even that would be good to see, like, her navigating in that space. Like, wasn't she dressing Tammy Roman for a while? Like, not, I think
so, yeah.
Like, bring Tammy on the show. Now, question, I don't know if we're moving too fast here, because now we've already kind of talked about the current cast, although we do need to get to Courtney in a second. But it did seem like, not that she needs it anymore, but with Courtney?
Yes.
Should we go? Let's do it now. And then just as a tease, the next thing we're going to talk about is actually we're going to do a quick break first for 1 minute, and then let's come back. Oh wait, I don't know if I have the break ready. Oh, look at me not fully prepared. Yes, I do. This Courtney, we're going to take a break, then we're going to talk about the other Courtney, and then we're going to talk about Tammy Roman for a specific reason. and then we're going to get into what cast members that are not on the series need to come to the series. Real Georgia girls, kind of what you were saying. So let's break that down, and we'll talk in a minute.
Well, hello there. Thank you for watching and supporting the show with my good friend, Randomly Ronnie Jr. Who the hell am I? Great question. My name is Mark Rodriguez with Mastermind Media, and I wanted to take just a moment of your time to let you know about all the other incredible things this guy, Randomly Ronnie Jr. has going on. But first, before we get into that, please comment, like, and subscribe. That is how he grows here on these channels. But one channel you probably don't know about is patreon.com/randomly Ronnie Jr., where he's got a bunch more exclusive content. So please check that out. But speaking of YouTube, let's go back to YouTube for a second. He's got this hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr. and it shows all of his stuff in his days in radio from back in the day, all the way up to present day, and his new interviews, podcasts, just videos across the board. So please check that out, because when you think about content creators, there's millions of content creators, but there's only one, Randomly Ronnie Jr. Let's get back into the show.
Wise words. Hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr. You will see not only the current platform that we're on has a ton of videos, but then when you connect all the stuff I did in radio years ago with that hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr., there's like 800 videos. So surely you'll like something. And don't call me Shirley. Courtney, let's talk about the Courtney on the show. Funniest thing by far with that shade assassin, I guess. Kenya said, "Oh, yeah, I knew Bryce when he was in Groove Theory. He doesn't look like Bryce anymore."
And for that reason alone, I need Courtney to get off this show. She getting on my nerves, but also she ruined my entire teenage middle school fantasy, because Bryce was everything. Oh my God.
And I don't think I've looked him up recently. So in my mind, that's exactly what was still happening. And then when we saw what was happening currently, it was sort of like when you first saw Genuine being more like at the age that he's at, and you remember old Genuine. And also it made me feel really good about myself, because I'm aging. We're all aging, 42. And if Bryce could go from A to Z, it makes me feel like, what, we all have to age. But Kenya, she did not have to be like that to him. She did not have to do that.
But it was comedy, and I appreciate her for it. She's giving me the chuckles and the laughs that I still want and expect from Atlanta that we're just not getting. And Courtney is not giving them, and I'm ashamed that she wears my name on the show and is not showing up.
What do you think she's doing wrong? It seems like she's too eager a lot of times, but what do you
see? She is so thirsty. She is in the desert and there is no water, and she is trying to suck the sand dry. Like, stop. She's not being like I don't know her. I would assume that she has some kind of, fun personality, because she made it to the show. It's not an easy process to even get to the show and actually get on air. But I feel like there's nothing authentic about her in being on the show. Like, the way she came at Kandi to begin with made no sense, and it was so extra, and it was like, girl, what? Why is this a thing? And then she just continues. I mean, she did try to mellow down and comfort Kandi after the last whatever altercation that was. They was fighting about something else. But I want her to not be so thirsty and just be cool, and what's going on with you, and make it about you being the cool person fitting in with these cool women, not that you are desperately trying to be whoever's best friend and whatever. It's just weird. We're old. You're grown. Yeah. This is what grown women do.
Reality TV is difficult because, there's probably a lot of, production telling her this is what we need, and you maybe overshoot. So I'll give that it can be confusing in that way, but just across the board, no one's really getting it. And she'll have to work on that. She will have to work on that. And sometimes they bring back people we don't expect to come back. I didn't expect Drew to come back. And now I have a strange, I don't enjoy her per se, but I do feel really weird watching her and knowing that she's trying so hard to keep that marriage together. And, when you had the scene where she was going to get potentially another male model in the video, but then she didn't even say it, but her words through her eyes and her mannerisms showed that she was really insecure about that, because for what it is, he might not treat her that well, or he might have her a little bit but it still was, would you agree? It was cringy, but still felt real, felt a little more interesting. Yeah.
It felt like some authenticness of what their situation is, because I feel like part of the reason I was over her last season is because everything felt contrived. Even the relationship, when she threw the bone or whatever that was at the on the trip with everybody, like just dumb things that she like made up that would be like a moment for her. But like seeing about the thing with not casting her husband in the music video, that felt like, oh, that was a real moment. And I was like, okay, yes, you have actual feelings and thoughts and, you know, issues that we're kind of seeing. And obviously we have the like end result. We know they've filed for divorce and that's a whole thing. So part of it may be that we're excited, or not excited, that's a bad word, like interested to see the path.
Like Vanderpump, you knew what was going to happen and you're like kind of navigating and you're seeing it through their eyes. So that's something. She also, and this is not saying she didn't look gorgeous season 1, but she also looks really beautiful.
Her hair and makeup has stepped up.
Yeah, some type of glow up. So Courtney, can we finish with giving some ideas of who would be good to cast? Now, it doesn't mean it has to be somebody of another namesake already. Sometimes I feel like the best cast members could be people we never knew. And then, you know, like we never knew Phaedra. And then, you know, or did we? Phaedra she didn't have a namesake, really.
No, nobody knew who Phaedra was.
Yeah, so, and that's a good thing. We should have people. I'll name a couple people, and you might be better at it because you're, like you said, you're from Georgia, Atlanta. I'm going to name a couple people, so I'm going against what I just said a second ago, that already do have a name, but I still think they would work. Is she too much for the show? But I thought she had one season, and I hate to borrow from another show, but I'm going to do it. But she only had one season. People forgot she even did the show, of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And she kind of just didn't fit, but she was very confident and assured of herself. And I just always liked DJ Tracy Still on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And I feel like as the times went on, she's only aged good for the show. I think she would be a really good choice to add. Yeah.
Okay. I hadn't thought about that. I'm not mad at that thought.
Yeah.
I would say, like, for me, I think we need not fear going back to our roots and having some people that we don't know who they are, but that they have an actual relationship with somebody on the show. Because I think across the Housewives franchises in general, I think the biggest like speed bump all of them are running into is constantly just casting random people to try to make them, you know, get to know, oh, you know, so-and-so sort of, so that's going to be your friend. And that's how you were brought onto the show. I would love to see, honestly, I want to see Portia come back. And I would like to see one of Portia's friends, maybe not, what's her name? The one that's kind of been floating around forever that married the other African as well. But Shamia, not Shamia per se, but like, I'd like to see an actual friend of Portia's that we don't know come onto the show. And maybe like one other just Atlanta person that's not a known celebrity, like, but I know Kandi's pool runs deep. Like there's people that she knows that would possibly do the show that aren't necessarily famous, but might add like an extra person who has a life, who's doing well in life, but also would be an authentic relationship on the show. Because I want to see some real conflict amongst actual people that really do know each other and are in each other's lives.
Is it too much to do the namesake of people we do already know, kind of what we're saying, and bring like Tamika from Escape just because they already had their show? Does that not work at all?
I would like that, actually. I think that's a great idea. Like, and I want to know more about what's going on with her family and like all of that situation and how that may be panned out. I think that would actually be good. And that's somebody that is literally like down from Atlanta, been in Atlanta. So her roots and things go deep in Atlanta in terms of knowing people and, you know, circles of friends and things like that. So I personally think that would be a very interesting choice and I wouldn't be mad at it at all.
Do you think it's time, answer this question in a second. Do you think it's time to have Marlo go back to a friend of?
Yes.
That's the first part of it. Oh, okay. So there you go. And then the second part is, I thought I had heard, and I could be wrong, that there was a time where Tammy Roman wanted to join Housewives of Atlanta and they didn't bring her in.
I feel like
you hear that as well
in an interview. I think she said that in an interview because I remember hearing that as well.
So what are your thoughts about that? I feel like I mean, granted, she's not doing reality now, and I think she is now
True.
doing a Lifetime, like she's doing a
Yeah,
lot.
she's acting.
But like there was a moment that she would have been willing to do Atlanta, and for whatever reason, the networks don't like to. What is the excuse they use? We don't want to bring somebody who has another identity. Like they didn't want to bring Snooki to Jersey Shore. Although I think Sammy Sweetheart would have been good to go to Jersey Housewives, but that's different. And she is going back. She's going back to her Jersey Shore. But to me, no, don't ever. Nobody. This is a message to everybody. Public service announcement. You never turn down Tammy Roman.
No, because she would have brought. Tammy does a great job of like knowing what to do to make a show, but also still being completely herself. Like she brings all of herself to a show, and that sucks. That was a loss. I think that was a misstep on their part. But
could have been a whole revamp whatever year. I don't know what the details were on that, but when I heard it, I said, oh, now this. I will agree with you. This is saying a lot because I was never a Portia fan, but I did watch her on Ultimate Girls Trip, and I felt like I really warmed up to her a little bit. Sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes seeing it in the same like casting and the people don't get along with who they don't get along with, it feels the same every year.
Yeah,
there was something really fun about her on Ultimate Girls Trip.
Yes.
Last thoughts about our Atlanta girls. You're not giving up on them though. That's the thing, right?
I mean, I can't, it's Black women in Atlanta. Like, I can't just be like, no, cut this out. Because I want them all to work. I want them all to succeed. But if I were casting this show, I would cut for sure 3 people right now. And we
think we all know what 3 people those are. No, but it's the truth. I hate when the fan base gets too excited. Like they know shit. They don't know shit about shit. And they're like, this is what's going to happen. And the season, it's seen its better days. You don't know that. This could be revamped by next season. You know what I mean? So I thought it was smart for us who are experienced to talk about it because we know. We be knowing.
We be knowing stuff. We know some stuff.
Courtney, so fun to talk to you. We will be back with another episode. But thank you for joining me talking about the Atlanta ladies, the Kenya Moore show.
Yes.
And Kandi, I got to give them all. You got to give
Kandi's the anchor, and for all of those people out there saying Kandi is not giving, she's boring, she's this.
Oh no,
Kandi anchors the show.
Please,
you need the logic, the calm, and the I will flip my ish when I need to personality.
Agree 10,000. I love Kandi. I can't. The notion of her being boring, not on my watch.
Not me, girl. Not me. No.
Real Housewives of Atlanta. We'll see where it goes. All right, Courtney. I'll talk to you.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.